Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. The New Hanover County Schools Superintendent says the district could face a budget shortfall that would require cutting more than 260 staff members. Sydney Hoover with the Star News reports the school board is requesting $15 million from county commissioners for the next 3 years. The proposed budget includes a pay increase for some staff, including teaching assistants. Even if the district gets the full amount, it could still face a deficit by the 2024-2025 school year. Area leaders joined North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein yesterday on a tour of Coastal Horizons, an addiction treatment center in Wilmington. Stein discussed a new settlement in which pharmaceutical companies will pay local governments millions of dollars for their role in the opioid epidemic. Stein says Coastal Horizons is far ahead of the curve on attacking the opioid crisis, with triple the patient load in the last 3 years. New Hanover County will get $19 million from the settlement, with the first 40% of that coming in the next 5 years. Big news for housing in the Cape Fear. 9 months after the former CEO of the Wilmington Housing Authority stepped down, a new executive director has been named. Tyrone Garrett will oversee the Housing Authority's operations, manage real estate development programs, and serve as a liaison with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He replaces Katrina Redmond, who left the authority last August. Garrett's first objective is prioritizing rehousing families displaced by the mold crisis in public housing. And after a 2-year break because of COVID-19, the annual NC Strawberry Festival and Parade is back on. The festival will kick off with the National Day of Prayer ceremony today at noon at the Chadburn Gazebo located next to the fire station. The opening ceremonies will take place later today with chicken bog plates and live entertainment on the festival ground located at the corner of Highways 410 and 74 in Chadburn. The parade steps off Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Going to be another warm and muggy one here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures only get into the middle 80s away from the coast. Coastal areas will still top off in the upper 70s with a small chance for a few isolated showers to develop this afternoon. As for tonight, we may have to watch out for some patchy fog developing late into early Friday morning as our temperatures remain mild, falling down into the middle and upper 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
The Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association serves as the advocate for the building industry, advancing professionalism and promoting community involvement. We are a positive force for responsible growth while protecting property rights and the privilege of home ownership. 3 out of every 5 jobs is touched in some manner by construction in our region. Growth generates jobs, maintains our property values, and builds and updates our infrastructure. Join us Friday mornings for the Construction Connection with the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association and the Big Talker FM.
I'm State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better state. We are one of the fastest growing and most reviewed insurance agencies in Wilmington. That's because our customers love the personalized attention that we give to you. Let us help you get to a better state by visiting our website at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Joining Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to the program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
Hey, you made it. You're just in time for the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad right here on the Big Talker Network. Available the website, bigtalker.live. You can take us anywhere you want to go if you Bluetooth us with your car entertainment system. And you can drive all over the state, all over the country, all over the world, and still be able to receive the fantastic content that is the Big Talker 24/7. And part of those include last night's episode, if you will, of The Voice in the Pen coming from Live at Ted's. That was a lot of fun, fantastic players. Michaela Haley, Mark Johnston, I think, was one. Kaylee Fall and Sam Hutch. It was an incredible evening. If you missed it, well, go hit up some Facebooks and YouTubes and you'll see it. I promise. And it's just another, for me anyway, a wonderful example of the production capabilities coming out of the Big Talker Network, the Big Talker production team. Well, me. If you watched Tuesday night's All Things Brunswick, you will notice we're up to 3 cameras, live production remote. I just added 4 microphones with compressors and such so that you sound fantastic. And I can do this from wherever you are. But it helps if you have really strong internet or if you can get me on the internet using a wire instead of wireless. I mean, YouTube is fine if you're in the House of Commons and you're looking at combine harvesters. Of course, my question is this guy a farmer? Why would he be looking at Dominators unless he's like, you know, plowing potatoes or something? I don't know. That just, wherever you find yourself, it's a good time. Anyway, so great production, new shows coming up, big things happening. There's this big thing happening Friday. I'm hoping that'd be tomorrow, I guess. I'm trying to get my myself in there to make it, you know, worth our while. See if we can't get our hands dirty in some of that political obfuscation. That seems to be the hot topic today. One of them, anyway, right? And we have there is a war going on in Europe, and now there is a war going on right here in America. And most of it's due to the incomprehensible stupidity of the people that take something that was leaked, that means we weren't supposed to see it in the first place, 3 months late, so it's already expired, voided, and superseded, and it's already turned the country into a bonfire. Good job. And maybe that was the point of this thing. I don't know. But it just seems a little ridiculous to get this upset about something that, you know, it's like getting upset about a voided check. Goodness, y'all are just looking for something to blow up on. And I think that's a bigger problem than we want to admit. But yeah, we've added some capabilities, some new stuff here. I can actually, you know, bring in a couple of more cameras if you guys are if anybody's having a presentation where they have a slideshow, whether you're using Google Slides or Apple, what do they call that? Notes, I think it is. Doesn't matter. Or what was PowerPoint is Microsoft's offering. So even if you have graphics and stuff that needs to go into your presentation that you would like to include in the stream, yes, we can do that. There's a lot of things we can do now that you may not be aware of, and I think our quality exceeds a number of the competitors in the market. Part of that, I think, is due to my experience working in television for 40 years. So I kind of know what to do with the camera, the electrons, and the delivery. So, you know, and we're reasonably priced. Plus, we have what others don't. We have the Big Talker app. If you haven't downloaded the app for Android or Apple iOS devices, you need to do so immediately. From there, you will discover that there is a entire website at your fingertips right there. Any show, every show we've done, right there at your fingertips. Video or audio or both, whatever. Doesn't matter. Our schedule's on there, right? There's an email link so you can send us any compliments, questions, concerns, critiques, or questions, because we can't get better without your help. Yes, absolutely unprepared this morning, not going to lie. Again, not a morning guy. When I came back from the Voice in the Pen performance last night around midnight, I was lucky to get the sleep I needed before working the station this morning at 6. And even with the foggy brain and a quick gullet of coffee, I was able to get the Heard Tell program in, which I think is one of the best we do, certainly a daily program. Andrew Donaldson's work and tireless, amazing work. His endless Rolodex of people that can really bring a lot of these issues into a real sense of living life, if you will. Because the same talking heads with the single degree on your 3-letter news outlets, if you will, very few of them are, they might be trained or skilled or whatever in one particular area, but you can't keep asking a surgeon about war, right? You can't keep asking a businessman about abortion. At some point, the information just isn't very valid anymore. It's just not very well supported, I guess would be the term. Like, if you're going to talk about elections in Ohio, then why are we talking to somebody in Washington, D.C. who has never been to Washington? How about somebody whose boots are on the ground in Washington working on the very issues that are being discussed? Novel idea, isn't it? Well, that's the basis of Heard Tell. Turn down the noise. Let's get past the BS and the part that gets you all excited and up in arms and thinking that you need to buy all the toilet paper. Now, during that time, these people needed to buy that much toilet paper. We were able to identify without a doubt, instantly, without saying a word, we knew who the idiots were. We knew who needed that much toilet paper. Because if you're that full of crap, then yeah, you need to buy 15 rolls. I told you about the lady who had the exploding, she was at the local little food desert store thing, and she had probably 10 or 12 packages of toilet paper. And everybody there had something to say. And the thing is, this wasn't her first stop. She was out in the parking lot. She was trying to cram all of her recent toilet paper purchases into a car that was already stuffed. And it wasn't a car, it was like an SUV, completely stuffed. And of course, we're all just giving her, we hope you need that, and, maybe you need to see a doctor, and, just basically razzing her. And she got mad because, she's stuffing stuff into one side, it's popping out the other, and at one point, she got really, really mad, and she kicked a package of toilet paper, which popped, sending rolls of toilet paper raining from the sky all across the parking lot. I have not laughed like that in a very, very long time. So the indicators are there, people. You can tell who's doing what and why. Whatever. So, more about our shows. Yeah, that's a safe bet. Consumer Choice Radio from the brainchild of David Clement and Yael Lasowski. Full disclosure, Yael is the reason why our website looks so cool and works. I mean, if I'd programmed it, would have been like, shut up and turn on the radio, be done. All right, just go to the Big Talker. That's all it would have been a link to get the Big Talker onto your phone. But he's got the schedule up there. He's got all the contact information, blurbs on each show. It's crazy, man. I mean, it's amazing what these kids can do with a little bit of data. Man. Don't even know what's coming up. Let's see. Then we have Guns, Politics, and Freedom. Unfortunately, Paul was not able to join us this week. But the grassroots organization, grnc.org, I believe it is, they are gearing up to send out 150 of these candidate report cards, effectively. Right? I was speaking with a GOP chairperson recently, and he was talking like we're with what they send out prior to the election later this year, I mean, I don't know the numbers of the material they're sending out, but they are estimating between $30,000 and $40,000 for their mailings. That's a lot of support. For a primary, just the GOP, I mean, it's just the GOP headquarters, I guess, for that county. So just Brunswick County has enough support to send out $40,000 worth of material. That's a lot of support. That's where the machination really rubber meets the road kind of thing, because they're trying to inform the voters. And that was a good conversation about one of the TARS members. I can't remember which one spoke to this specifically, but voting is all well and good, but we need informed voters, right? And that's a pretty big deal. Because if we have people just going in there and clicking names because, oh, I recognize that guy. I liked his outfit on the TV show. Bad idea. Dr. Raj should not be anywhere near politics in this country. Not at all. Anybody endorsed by Trump, in my opinion, but that's me. I don't think an endorsement makes anybody more or less, and certainly not from that guy. If you got endorsed by Abraham Lincoln, okay, I'd give you a little bit more credit, right? If you were endorsed by somebody who was a level-headed, sane, and positive influence on this country, then yeah, maybe. But endorsements are just, it's like social media influencer. You should buy this hair product because this influencer really likes it. I mean, do you see how stupid this is? We're trying to run our government, we're trying to run our political system, our elections, as though we were buying cat food. Oh, look at the pretty little colors on this one. Oh, this one has a cute little kitty on the front. Oh, this one has a cute little slogan, make things great again. Oh. None of that is a reflection of what makes the person worthwhile, makes them a logical, reasonable, sensible choice to be a representative and leader. So if you're being represented by one of the most reprehensible human beings ever to grace the planet, then probably at the end of your life, you're going to need to get right with your maker, man, because this is just some horrible, horrible stuff, ladies and gentlemen. I can see you making a mistake. Oh, I thought it was a combine. But just own it, dude. You busted. Same thing with these outrageous freaks on both sides of the aisle in the chamber. If you cannot respect the decorum, obviously you have no interest in politics or in helping your fellow American. You're just there for the photo ops. You're just there because you're paid to do something you have no clue about. Like, what's this with the Mickey Mouse trademark? Really? I mean, we have so many idiots, and the thing is, we don't have to, like, it's not a subjective term. I mean, Boebert wrote in herself, right? Her own, I mean, this is why nobody wants to read her book, because her tweets are impossible. Right? I mean, Mickey Mouse, millions and millions and millions of American children know how to spell Mickey's name. Horrible human beings. If they're sponsored by a horrible human being, then chances are they should be disqualified right there. Boom. Anyway, it just seems that, you know, politics have gone further and further away from what is effective and helpful for the American population, and we're just voting for people because we think they're cool, cute, or crazy. That must be it. Because crazy is not going to save us from ourselves. I'll tell you that right now. And this is how crazy we are. I mean, Chemwars admitted, DuPont, when they were DuPont, admitted to knowing that they were poisoning our watershed. And yet they were never held to account. I'm still curious as to why the indictment, again, this is, thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars to bring a grand jury together. To convene, I think is the term, a grand jury. And they did not return an indictment. And the indictment is what would begin the legal proceedings against Camwars and hold them accountable. But we took stupid another level and we said, oh, no, that's fine. I tell you what, we have some cleanup to do. And we're going to let you do the testing to see what needs to be cleaned up and where. That's like letting the murderer choose his own sentence. Oh, hey, I spent 3 days in jail. Time served. I'm out. I mean, there's all kinds of fouls here, which lends itself to the corruption theory. And again, this corruption is not necessarily left to just the money. Because there's going to be money involved. Don't doubt that. And while there's all kind of up in arms that when they find the person who leaked this from the Judicial Department, from the Supreme Court, we're going to find him. We're going to find him or we're going to prosecute him. No, you're not. Even if you do prosecute him and disbar him, he's definitely, whoever this person is, he, she, is going to have probably a book deal, a movie deal, a late night talk show rotation deal, then a book signing tour deal, and then there's going to be like speaker presentation deals. This person is set for life. Are you kidding me? Nothing's going to happen to that person. Nothing. I didn't know. I thought it was because it was expired I could release it. Yeah. They'll come up with something. And hopefully it'll come from somebody who's smart enough to not stare at the sun during an eclipse. What a guy. And of course, many of my colleagues here at the station don't understand my consternation, but then again, I have a history. I was alive in the 70s when the Central Park Five were being roasted, only to discover that they were not involved whatsoever, but somebody wanted them dead, wanted to hang them, wanted to lynch them. I mean, just took out an entire ad in the newspaper to basically convict the innocent. Mob mentality, just hang them. Was it because they were black? Well, no. Apparently, there's no racism involved. I find that difficult to believe. But, hey, here we are. And that guy is still making recommendations to which other voters seem to think are, you know, like, oh, this is the divine. No. These are grifters. And we need to stop voting for grifters. We need to stop voting for anybody with an MBA or an MD after their name unless they're going to be on the panel for, you know, health or something, right? Like that famous picture of the Council on Women's Health, not one woman in the room. Not even an assistant, not even a secretary. Everybody in that picture, and I think there's like 50 people in that, 50, 60 people in that photo. Not one woman. We need to make that change. And we need to send a clear message to the entire political spectrum that we're tired of the crap. We're tired of names. We're tired of endorsements that mean nothing other than maybe another batch of free Goya beans. Hey, you remember that? What other president in the history of the United States laid out products on their table and said, I think these are the best? And now we got people in the, you know, in the legislation, state and local, that are even worse than that. I don't know. Being just a radio guy and trying to just pick my own people to vote for, my criterion, I think, is far different from anybody else. Certainly anybody wearing one of these or waving a fancy flag. There's a company on the way here to my house. I won't mention their name. But you can tell because they are the only business where I don't know the name of the business. Because they have covered the name of their business. The big sign that they paid money for, they covered it in a ridiculous blue, which is interesting, sign that disparages all of America, really. I was like, well, it's interesting that you're not getting much work anymore. You had, I see on Marketplace here, you had to sell one of your trucks. Maybe it's that, people don't want to work with people that are, unpleasant or confrontational or intimidating, right? That's why I stopped working with one kid here in the area. I mean, he's just so much about, I got a gun. Remember that, I'll shoot you. I'll shoot him. I'll shoot her. I got a gun. Maybe you shouldn't. While it is that we have the ability, the freedom to own a gun, not everybody should. Just like I have the freedom to do 110 on the freeway, but I have the sense of wherewithal, the presence of mind to not do that. Maybe 75 and a 70 when there's nobody around, right? But freedom, I think we use it like a little shield to protect us from that which we do not understand. I have the freedom to hate you because I don't understand you. You see how it works? I mean, these are basically petulant toddlers throwing temper tantrums. And it doesn't matter if it's, the Karen in the Kmart, right? Or if it's some elected person going off on a space laser tangent. They need to pay me more. Anyway, we'll be right back after some messages here on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Maybe something interesting will happen between then and now. If not, we'll be here. See you in a minute. Bye.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. The new Hanover County Schools superintendent says the district could face a budget shortfall that would require cutting more than 260 staff members. Sydney Hoover with the Star News reports the school board is requesting $15 million from county commissioners for the next 3 years. The proposed budget includes a pay increase for some staff, including teaching assistants. Even if the district gets the full amount, it could still face a deficit by the 2024-2025 school year. Area leaders joined North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein yesterday on a tour of Coastal Horizons, an addiction treatment center in Wilmington. Stein discussed a new settlement in which pharmaceutical companies will pay local governments millions of dollars for their role in the opioid epidemic. Stein says Coastal Horizons is far ahead of the curve on attacking the opioid crisis, with triple the patient load in the last 3 years. New Hanover County will get $19 million from the settlement, with the first 40% of that coming in the next 5 years. Big news for housing in the Cape Fear. 9 months after the former CEO of the Wilmington Housing Authority stepped down, a new executive director has been named. Tyrone Garrett will oversee the Housing Authority's operations, manage real estate development programs, and serve as a liaison with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He replaces Katrina Redmond, who left the authority last August. Garrett's first objective is prioritizing rehousing families displaced by the mold crisis in public housing. And after a 2-year break because of COVID-19, the annual NC Strawberry Festival and Parade is back on. The festival will kick off with the National Day of Prayer ceremony today at noon at the Chadburn Gazebo located next to the fire station. The opening ceremonies will take place later today with chicken bog plates and live entertainment on the festival grounds located at the corner of Highways 410 and 74 in Chadburn. The parade steps off Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Going to be another warm and muggy one here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures only get into the middle 80s away from the coast. Coastal areas will still top off in the upper 70s with a small chance for a few isolated showers to develop this afternoon. As for tonight, we may have to watch out for some patchy fog developing late into early Friday morning as our temperatures remain mild, falling down into the middle and upper 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
Paid for by the committee to elect Judge Michael Stadding. As a member of the United States Air Force, I stand for our nation. As a prosecutor, I took a stand against violent criminals. As an attorney for the Fraternal Order of Police, I took a stand for law and order. As a sitting conservative judge, I stand for our Constitution. And as a judge on the Court of Appeals, I will stand up for you. Vote for a battle-tested conservative. Stand with Stadding. Michael Stadding is a reservist for the United States Air Force. Use of his military rank, job titles does not imply endorsement by the Department of the Air Force or the Department of Defense.
I am State Farm Agent Rob Renz, and I want to help you get to a better place. Visit us online at ilminsurance.com. That's ilminsurance.com. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum. Your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. BigTalker.live is the website for anything you may want to know. All of our programs and schedules and such are on that website. It's really cool. There's even a link that you can send an email to us with any comments, questions, concerns, compliments, or critiques you may wish to pass along to help us improve and be better. You can join along in the chat. You can join along to call in. Yeah, you can ask questions. You can give us some problem. You can hassle us. Whatever. We're used to it. It's a whole lot of fun. That's why I continue to do it. And more often the morning shows become more interesting when I have smart people to talk to. And unfortunately, it's going to be at least a half hour before one of those people is available for me to get my hands on. Everybody else is all busy with some election thing. I don't know what that's about. Oh, wait. I kind of do. The idea is that we replace the current stock, the current crop, the current, what's the word I'm looking for? Corral, stable of pathetic grifters, cheaters, liars, misanthropes, heinous, let's see, Damien, right? I mean, there are so many people involved in politics whose names you do not know, who are actually effective representatives and leaders for their community. All the people whose names you know is like a logo on a food. Right? So Bobert would be like the Fen-Phen of diet pills. How's that? Like, well, okay, so that was going a little far. But like Dan Romand and I were speaking yesterday, and one of the things we did agree on is that the any food with a logo on it is probably not in your best interest. It's in the interest of the people making money, and that's sort of what's driving this whole thing. I had that conversation with a company who's buying into all these services that are designed to help them become more efficient. And all they've done is added like 3 layers of discombobulated BS in the middle of everything. And it's like, man, yeah, you're paying money to these companies, but they're not there to support you. They're there to make money. Right? And this, one of the particular products that I was railing against, I had to laugh because once I pointed out, look, all you're doing is paying somebody to put cute little unicorn animations on a Google map, on a Google calendar. That's the engine under it. That's all it is. So if you can't decide among the 2 or 3 people that are on your employee list when something is due and get it done, and you have to pay somebody else to put cutesy little animations on your calendar, you're not destined to last very long. That's just ridiculous. I mean, I've been in production for 40 plus years, and we did it all with pencil paper calendars. And we had hundreds of employees with hundreds of productions going on. Never missed a beat. These guys can't make it through the week without dropping the ball on something, and they pay extra for these services that are going to help. No. It seems that our education system has failed us to the point that we can't even use a calendar without somebody holding our hand and putting cute little animations and memes on it. that is a sad statement on what's happening in this country as far as education goes, right? And I'm not even talking about the 2 years of insanity where we didn't even really have a school. This is just regular people, right? These are people like on the street. If you were to ask them, like, who's the president, they wouldn't have a clue. Who elects the president? Well, honestly, it's not us. It's the electoral slate, right? The electoral college. Sorry, the copy is still getting to me. But we don't seem to understand that. We don't seem to understand that legislation has, the House and the Senate have absolutely nothing to do with copyrights. But our elected leaders don't seem to understand how their own government works. So when they tweet something like, I think not, well, keep in mind, honesty, shows itself at the most inconvenient of times, does it not? And there you are. That would be one of these examples of no. So when looking at your, representation, one of my guides when looking at whether somebody is electable or not, a little bit of their history. How do they speak? What is their thing, right? Like Bernie Sanders, I don't think there's a hateful bone in his body. There's passion throughout every fiber of his being, but I don't think there's any hate or stupid. And by stupid, I mean, not like the ability to perform trigonometry, but I mean the type of stupidity where you're insulting other people without realizing that those are the very people you're going to need. Yes, like calling the Capitol Police the very people you wanted to take the money from to say, oh my God, somebody told a joke. You threatened me on national TV. ABC needs to hold you accountable. No, that's not how this works. That's not how any of this works. And by the way, MICKEYMOUSE. But I don't expect her to be a part of that either. I think she was just like hatched into wherever she is right now. But that's me. But there's, legitimate jokes, legitimate observations on all sides. That again, the people who are doing what they are supposed to do are the ones that don't make the news for stupid stuff. So, I think we should have a few rules. Okay, these are Turbo's rules for weeding out candidates for yourself. 1, if they tweet insane stuff, hateful stuff, insulting stuff, out. Because that doesn't represent me. All right? MBAs, out. Because obviously you're more interested in the money than you are in the system. 100 years ago, it was not uncommon to find farmers, plumbers, mechanics, welders, moms in office. Right? And that's a huge thing. We don't have regular people in office anymore. We have these psychopaths. We have these psychotics. We have these people that were groomed to further the profit on our existence, really. So, yeah. If their Twitter is more active than your own, chances are they should not be in office. And if their tweets are about other people rather than about their own policies, issues, agendas, out. If they're yelling and pointing fingers at other people, out. If you're being a jerk and a Karen and a God knows what else there isn't, out. Out of here. If you worship a single person, out. Out. Out of here. And to get even less popular, if you base all your stuff on religion, out. Out. I don't know if anybody remembers the big fear of having Kennedy in office, like the first Catholic in office. Apparently there was a lot of upset people, a lot of worried people that the Pope was going to be running the show. No, so just all of that out. Anybody walking around with a gun and a Bible, out. Because you're not representing everybody. You're only representing the gun interests. And if that's what you're going for, then you're not representing everybody. You're representing a small sliver of people who give you money. How about the rest of us? How about the ones of us who don't want to get shot? How about the ones of us that are educated on how guns work? Gun safety, gun operation, and a decent shot? But yet you're going to let some hothead who already has, domestic violence calls on his rap sheet, but you're going to give him a gun. Okay. Personally, I don't want one. I don't think I need one, because I tend to identify the people that are in my life as to, oh, look, they're a safe human being or not. If I'm anywhere that seems unsafe, I leave. Right? If people start pulling out guns and talking all big old machismo, I'm bad, and I'm out. These are not people I want in my life. I want people who understand the subtleties of green chili in scrambled eggs, or can debate artichokes and avocados, or have an interest in the technology or something of this nature. But if you're just sitting there, I got a gun, and all them damn crazy live on the left tire and the right tire, no, stop that. If you're going to represent your constituents, but you have no connection to those constituents, I will make another example out of Mark Meadows, who didn't even live in North Carolina but was somehow our representative. How the hell did that work out? And then we ended up with, like, Mark Meadows Light, the one man who should respect wheels more than anybody else, has lost his license a couple of times, still continues to drive in defiance of those laws, and he's one of our lawmakers. Brilliant! Not representing me, and I live here. Mark Meadows wasn't representing anybody here because he didn't live here. He just did a little loophole thing and got elected into some place and then pulled into Trump's orbit, which really didn't help us. That's not representing me. Is that representing you? Is grifting $1,000 a month by, hey, one-time donation. Yeah, it's one time every month. They just didn't bother to tell you that. And they were forgiven. But if you and I did that, we would have been sued right out of existence. So, yeah, let's stop with the BS that everybody's created equal. Let's just start there with some admission, right? Because just like in AA or NA or any of the 12-step groups, the very first thing is to admit you is messed up, man. Your thinking is what got you here. Right? If you are the pariah of your state or of your district, you got no one else to blame but you. It wasn't the right's fault or the left's fault or it was your own fault for not being an accurate or reasonable representative for your constituents. And if you don't believe it works out, unfortunately it only worked out at the top. It didn't work anywhere else. Because we replaced Trump with some insane numbers, like the highest voter turnout in the history of the world, it seems like, showed up to change that in 2020. Now, I'm not saying that the field of representatives has been anything to stand up for. I don't think Biden's any better of a president than most. I think out of the 330 million people in this country, there's got to be somebody better than Clinton, Biden, Trump, any of these fools. Where's our John Adams, for Christ's sake? John Adams may not have been a popular president, our second president, but you got to give him credit. He was the first one to say, hey, if we're going to be this new young democratic republic with all these nifty laws, we can't lynch these British soldiers. That's what the rest of the world wanted to do. Even the people in our new office were like, in our new government were like, okay, and these guys, they're bad, kill them. Wait. According to our Constitution, they have rights. That was very unpopular at the time. Can I just throw that out there? It was very unpopular for John Adams to be the defense attorney for the British soldiers. Now, the British soldiers were still, convicted. They were still found guilty, and they were still whatever else. But the fact that somebody in our country said, wait a minute, if we are going to be the shining example of democracy and freedom, we need to start at the beginning. Yes, sentiment for these guys, or I think there was 5 of them, and they were being tried for some pretty heinous stuff, but otherwise, they would have had no representation, and they would have had their rights completely stomped upon. And John Adams was there as a lawyer to say, wait, no. That's not right. That's not right. Because if we're saying that everybody has the freedom and the representation and equal under the law, but because these guys are British, that makes a difference? No. We have to be straight from the beginning. So he may not have been the most effective president, but I feel that he had one of the greatest personal understandings of our new country and how we should behave, especially in the global stage when something like that goes on, right? So this was, at the time, there was no, printing presses were fresh, right? Ben Franklin out there cranking away. This was new technology then. There was no telegraphs, right? We were just getting it together. Learning how to put words to paper without having to do it by hand. So that being popular, or, all of the world being able to pay attention to something like this at the time was a very delayed situation. And I'm sure there were some British people that, at the time, they were like, wait a minute, those are my, cousin, brother, father, son, nephew, whatever, buddy. But they weren't just railroaded right through this sham of a court case, much like we see in other countries, Russia, where people can be just randomly jailed for 9 years based on, I just don't like you. We have a completely different process, and I think I still really contend that John Adams was instrumental in helping the rest of this nascent country understand what they were getting themselves into. Because it's not pretty all the time. It's not easy all the time. I guarantee you that. There are times it gets downright ugly. And there are times it gets downright unpopular. And right now, we are in the midst of an unpopular set of misunderstandings, right? I will still contend that whoever leaked this thing was leaking a document that was over 3 months old, had already been voided and superseded. Why? Why would anybody do that? Why? Okay, right? That's the best question to eliminate or to bust open any conspiracy theories, is to continue to ask why. Now, there's only 2 potential outcomes from this as to be a why, right? One is going to be money and one is going to be power. Those are the only 2 options for something this stupid to occur. They're trying to make money or they're trying to make power. Now, it may not be direct, meaning right now, we've just set the world on fire by releasing this dead document 3 months late. But that doesn't mean that this is the focus of the conversation. Something else is happening. Guaranteed. Maybe it's the boots on the ground in a place we don't want to be. We don't know. But right now, the entire nation is on fire and sufficiently distracted that you could steal City Hall. If you wanted to storm the Capitol, right, you picked the wrong day. Because now is when the protesters are out and throwing rocks and chanting buildings and God knows what else. And there's going to be 2 camps. the pro-birthers and the not pro-birthers. We don't care about life. If we cared about life, there would not be this health insurance problem that we have. Health care. If you're going to prepare and what's the word for the common good and the common defense, well, healthy, educated constituents would be a part of that. But if I have to pay 5 different insurance policies, one for my eyeballs, one for my teeth, one for my mentality, right? And then one for my actual, like, I guess, heart and lungs. And then I have to get another one. No, you see how this goes? We haven't figured this out. We're supposed to be like one of the richest countries on the planet. And it's all because we grift. We grift on the disfortunate condition of others. Right? Cancer patients bankroll hospitals. That's wrong. If we were really pro-life, we would be far more aggressive in our health care. But no. All of our food has a logo. You realize that? One of the conversations we had yesterday with Dan was like, oh my God, the farmer might make money selling his corn. Instead of going to the store and buying corn in a can with a logo on it that's been processed through a machine. And at the end of that process, just to let you know, they have an electromagnet. Do you know why? Just in case metal slivers from the machine gets into your food, this super powerful electromagnet, is supposed to pull those metal shards out of the food so you don't eat them. How's that? It's not like anybody's watching it. So if your food has a logo and you're depending on that for your health, and you're thinking this is good for you, you're buying the marketing, not the product. I mean, I smoke, I admit. I eat burgers, I admit. I'm not the healthiest camper on the planet, but I try to keep it in a balance. I love avocados, right? So, healthy food. I don't like fish, but that's not a problem. I mean, there's a lot of options that we are responsible for in ourselves. So when people are talking about, I need to lose weight and get back into shape. Well, the first step would be to stop eating food with logos on it. And the second step would be to put one foot in front of the other. As Dan said, 10 minutes. Don't even worry about distance. Just in a circle around the yard, up and down the street. Just walk for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes. Do that for a week. And then go for 12 or 15. See how you feel. Do that for a couple weeks. And stop eating less of the logos, the processed mechanical food, right? I mean, no disrespect to my buddy that I spent years working with. I mean, I still like the guy, and I'm still amazed that this is even real. But his job, he's the manager of a food line, not Food Lion, but Food Line, one of the production lines, at McDonald's in the Ohio Valley area. And his job is to crank out thousands upon thousands of McDonald's breakfasts. So they're prepared, cooked, if you will, in these massive machines. And yes, assembly line, right? You got conveyor belts delivering this stuff and machines doing their stuff. And it goes past the electromagnet at the end to pull out any metal shards that may have accumulated in your product prior to shipping. So those thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of breakfasts, right? All of them, the Grand Slam or whatever they're called. I don't even know because I would never do breakfast at McDonald's. Even when they were still cooking the eggs for real. If I want breakfast like that, I'm going to Waffle House. Right? That's a little better for me anyway. Because at least I know the egg is being opened right there in front of me. Right? I mean, you can see this. Hermetically sealed steak comes out of the bag and goes directly onto the heat. Minimalistic. I love that. And of course, the best is to, go to the butcher yourself and get your meat and go to the produce or farmer's market. Not everybody can do that, and not always is it affordable. What we've discovered is that food is cheap if you manufacture it en masse. If you turn it into an assembly line mechanical, that's your food. But we can generate tons of it. And on the other side of it, everybody who, since the 80s has been all mesmerized by the microwave have forgotten how to cook. So as our food product quality deteriorates, so will our collective brain power. Right? Convenient is not good. Cheap is not good. Affordable is good. Reasonable is good, right? But we seem to be getting further and further away from what is reasonable, which is like the whole pocket in the middle of just about any issue. But it seems that that's not a reasonable thing to do. It seems the reasonable thing to do is to go off all MTG style, or some of the others. I don't even know all the names. It's just the ones that pop to the top are the most heinous. And so far, they all seem to, eat at the same table. And that's a table I'm going to avoid. Because I want my friends to be reasonable, to be open to discussion, and to not have such closed-minded, blasting rhetoric about stuff they don't even know. I'm not the brightest camper in the world, and I understand that I have to go through an entirely different process to copyright a song. I don't trademark a song. I trademark the band name, or the trademark would be the tagline, right? So I could trademark the tagline, I can copyright the band name and stuff, and none of that goes through any legislature at the state or federal level. It's ridiculous that we have elected people that don't even understand how the system works. This needs to stop. If somebody has an endorsement, they should automatically go to the bottom of your list. Don't even consider them for a Christmas card. Hey, it looks like it's the top of the hour. So we're going to take a little break, and we'll see you guys when we get right back. So don't go nowhere. It's the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Be right back on the Big Talker Live. Don't go nowhere.
Keeping Leland informed. The Big Talker 106.7 FM WFBT, Carolina Beach.
The Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association serves as the advocate for the building industry, advancing professionalism and promoting community involvement. We are a positive force for responsible growth while protecting property rights and the privilege of home ownership. 3 out of every 5 jobs is touched in some manner by construction in our region. Growth generates jobs, maintains our property values, and builds and updates our infrastructure. Join us Friday mornings for the Construction Connection with the Wilmington Cape Fear Home Builders Association and the Big Talker FM.
I'm K.O. Davis from K.O.'s Coast to Coast Tree, and I want to be your tree man.
When your trees need cut, 2 letters to know. One is a K, the other is an O. K.O.
Tree man.
Proper trimming is the most important thing that you can do, so don't just hire anybody to do it. You need someone that knows what they're doing.
K.O.
Call the professionals at K.O.'s Coast to Coast Tree and visit KOTrees.com.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. The new Hanover County Schools superintendent says the district could face a budget shortfall that would require cutting more than 260 staff members. Sydney Hoover with the Star News reports the school board is requesting $15 million from county commissioners for the next 3 years. The proposed budget includes a pay increase for some staff, including teaching assistants. Even if the district gets the full amount, it could still face a deficit by the 2024-2025 school year. Area leaders joined North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein yesterday on a tour of Coastal Horizons, an addiction treatment center in Wilmington. Stein discussed a new settlement in which pharmaceutical companies will pay local governments millions of dollars for their role in the opioid epidemic. Stein says Coastal Horizons is far ahead of the curve on attacking the opioid crisis, with triple the patient load in the last 3 years. New Hanover County will get $19 million from the settlement, with the first 40% of that coming in the next 5 years. Big news for housing in the Cape Fear. 9 months after the former CEO of the Wilmington Housing Authority stepped down, a new executive director has been named. Tyrone Garrett will oversee the Housing Authority's operations, manage real estate development programs, and serve as a liaison with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He replaces Katrina Redmond, who left the authority last August. Garrett's first objective is prioritizing rehousing families displaced by the mold crisis in public housing. And after a 2-year break because of COVID-19, the annual NC Strawberry Festival and Parade is back on. The festival will kick off with the National Day of Prayer ceremony today at noon at the Chadburn Gazebo located next to the fire station. The opening ceremonies will take place later today with chicken bog plates and live entertainment on the festival grounds located at the corner of Highways 410 and 74 in Chadburn. The parade steps off Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist from Mel Carpenter with your Storm Track 3 forecast. Going to be another warm and muggy one here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures only get into the middle 80s away from the coast. Coastal areas will still top off in the upper 70s with a small chance for a few isolated showers to develop this afternoon. As for tonight, we may have to watch out for some patchy fog developing late into early Friday morning as our temperatures remain mild, falling down into the middle and upper 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by 2 Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to 2menandatruck.com. 2menandatruck.com.
I'm a construction superintendent working on a new housing project in the area. I've always loved being a part of a construction crew, watching the plans come to life. But I wanted more. I went to CFCC and trained in construction management technology. Now my skills allow me to have the life I once dreamed of. I make great money and can get a job anywhere. I got my start at CFCC, and you can too. Visit cfcc.edu/trades and get started today.
Hi, I'm Dr. Gabe Frank of the Frank Institute, and I wanted to tell you about our IV vitamin, infusion, and hydration therapies. These IVs are the most effective treatment for vitamin and nutrition deficiencies available, and with our wide range of offering, your treatment can be tailored to your specific needs. Whether you struggle with hydration or nutritional deficiency, injury recovery, low energy, please feel free to check out our IV infusions today. Schedule an appointment at 910-679-8534 or check out all our treatment services at www.frankinstitute.com.
Hey, welcome back to the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. Right here on the Big Talker. Live. Oh, I heard a cash register. What? Do it again. Do it again. There's all that money, baby. That's what all this is about. All of these elections, all of this silliness. One of the things you will constantly be hearing about through all of these campaigns is how much money that campaign has. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the crux of the biscuit right there. Get the money out of politics and we can have much more honest and realistic politics. Seems reasonable. But much about the world as it currently is defying the sense of reason. Even the Pope, the real Pope, right? Not that fake pontiff dressed up in red Russian crap. The real Pope was like, yo, man, you can't no. You can't be a state mouthpiece. You're a mouthpiece for Jesus. But anyway. Oh, now I know why. Now I know why everything's failing. Okay. Yeah, I'll take care of that in a minute. Okay, never mind. All right. Yeah, so my phone is offline for the next hour. Ha! So much for that idea. So, because apparently the stores are now closing much earlier because nobody wants to work, so I can't get what I need when I come home from a gig when I have the money in my hand. So, yeah, it's going to be at least an hour before I can get to the phone card. So, yeah, no more texting. Sorry. No mo. We'll do that later. We'll take care of that. So it is easy to lose track of things, even in our day-to-day lives, right? But there are times that if you do it 2 or 3 times, you got to admit, there's a little something here. In my life, I get it. My schedule's a little screwed up. My head's a little screwed up. But if you're sitting in the House of Commons scrolling through Dominators, and you're not a farmer. It seems to be the one common aspect across the globe for anybody elected into a position is sex. The weirdest, unnatural, extramarital sex. Cocaine-fueled orgies, apparently, is more what's happening in politics than actual legislation and debate. I mean, we got some unfettered behind-the-scenes access through our friend Maddie Cawthorn. Again, the man who should respect wheels more than any other. But now it's all about the sex. It's all about the dominators. It's all about the porn stars, the Stormy Daniels. It doesn't matter if you're married. Right? I mean, Christians don't care if you're married. Being married is no longer a Christian value. I mean, you knew that, right? Because we legislate women. They are property. They are meant to be controlled. They are meant to be under wraps. Isn't that how this goes? I mean, that's why so many men have been legislating what women can do for hundreds of years. Just like other minorities, women were not allowed to vote until, what, the 60s? World War II ruined it for men, right? Because while all the men in America ran off and did the thing that saved us from stupid, saved us from hate and danger and burning alive and everything else, When the men came home, they realized women were working and they liked it. They liked it. You're not taking that away. It's kind of like freedom. Once somebody has freedom, they're not going to give it away. Look at Ukraine. They are willing to die at the personal level, each and every one of them, to not be under Russian control. That should be enough for the rest of the world to say, all right, look, you're picking on the kid again. Back off or we're going to break your nose. Right? We would do that with any other little brother. Right? Little brother getting picked on by a psychotic older guy. It didn't happen in my life. Dad was still allowed to just bash my head open as a 3-year-old, 2.5-year-old, somewhere in there. There was no accountability. There was no responsibility. There was no, oh my God, what have I done? That was just par for the course. Get drunk, get mad, beat things. Are we going to do this on the global stage? I mean, it's not that Putin's drunk, but he's obviously drunk on power. And now he's just going to go beat up on people at random because he feels less than powerful for whatever reason. I find that to be extremely bothersome. Having lived it at a personal level, I know what Ukraine is going through. I mean, they are babies. We're 200 years old as a country. They're 20, 30 years old maybe as a country. They were just getting it started before somebody came in and just railroaded them again. And not one person, not one country has said, hey, that's not right. We've supported Ukraine. You go, guys. Here's some bullets. But we're not going to help you. We're going to send you aid. And at the personal level, that has come in a way that nobody would, most organizations wouldn't understand. Certainly government organizations. Oh my God, we need to get some humanitarian aid in there. Homeboys in Ireland loaded up their own vans, their own work vans, stopped work, did all their stuff to load up vans with stuff like diapers, sleeping bags, pillows, aspirin, and drove it them damn selves to the Polish-Ukrainian border. So there's lots of interest, there's lots of support, but there's no help. Right? And at this point, so, psychotic homeboys talking about, we're going to throw some nukes around. Okay, so there should be a full-on assault on all of Russia from all of Europe and the rest of the planet right now. Just level everything that is Russian. Right? Just level the Kremlin all the way to just crater it. Just like they did the theater. Just like they did the steel plant. Just crater it. And that whole little strip that attaches to the not the Black Sea, that little bit off to the side over by Finland. I can't even Kaliningrad? Yeah, level it. Just completely take it over and start using euros. And just set rubles on fire. Right? I mean, there should be a exact retaliation of aggression. Because the Russian people, obviously, are not going to get it. And, of course, state media is going to fall apart when the state media gets bombed. That would be, one of my first targets as well. Flip the script. Bring it back. Let's see what happens. But right now, all we're going to do is just keep sending Ukrainians to their death saying, oh, you go. We support your freedom. But I'm not the smartest guy in the person. It's probably a good thing that I'm not in office of any sort. Because there would have been a serious, if it had been me, February 25th, it would have been over. Right? I would have just sent everybody straight into Russia and just conquer all of Russia. Just destroy everything that makes Russia, what's left of it, stand. Then again, I had a similar idea in the Middle East. They seem to hate our way of life, and I think the best revenge would be to just completely bomb it into one big lake. Lake Afghanistan, right? And put a bunch of Holiday Inns and Ramadas and resorts with all kinds of debauchery. Basically, like everything that makes Atlantic City and New Orleans and Las Vegas so wonderful, and put them right there. Just take over that entire area, turn it into a massive rich people's resort with every type of debauchery you could possibly want. All the blue jeans you could want. All the Ray-Bans you could want. All the exotic sexual deviance that you could ever possibly want. Right there. And watch those people really lose their cultural mind. Right? It's been said, why do we keep sending, mice into the viper's pit to try and take out the bad snake? Why not send our own even more evil snake in there and let him take care of the business? Well, that's sort of what our elite strike teams were or have been, but we're not using them. We're not going to put any Americans on the ground. Somebody's going to need to, or this is not going to stop. I'm not saying that America should be fighting this war, but I'm saying that America should not be fighting or participating. And I'm not saying you've got to send the whole army over there, right? We have every country, well, okay, not every country, but many of the countries. Israel, I think, has a couple of good little operations. I know America's got a couple of good operations, and I know Britain has a couple of good operations where an elite team of 6 or 10 people can do the work of an entire division. Right? These guys are really good at getting in, doing damage, and getting out. That's what we should be doing. Right? Not just incursions, man. I mean, just all-out assaults that nobody's expecting. And you just level the Kremlin into a, dust. Just leave a crater. That'll put a sliver into the collective mindset. And of course, once you eliminate the ability for state TV to broadcast and you start letting people see what the rest of the world is seeing, and a lot of things will change. But then again, you know, since my childhood, America propaganda has instilled in me a sense that we could live without Russia. We really could. If we were to just eliminate Russia completely, like red forest the entire country, that, to me, would be beautiful. But the thing is, here's one of the concerns that, again, not being the brightest person on the planet, does this not give North Korea something to strive for? Hey, look, Russia's getting away with it. Maybe I can too. I'm going to attack South Korea again. Or Japan, or America, or Europe. Because these guys feed on each other. They don't, you know, this isn't in a vacuum. The whole planet is watching this. And we still aren't wrapped very well. Yeah, do what we can with what you got. It makes you wonder what we could do if we had an effective education system. And I'll harp on this again, that we've not had any reasonable understanding of any of this, right? Like, if you want to have an educated constituency, you should at least educate them on how the government works. So you don't have idiots like Boebert and Green who don't even know what their role is. Right? I mean, they're legislators and they think they have control over copyrights? I think not. We need to elect better people. Electing better people is going to take some knowledge, some research, some information. And that's why so many of the people on this station go the extra mile to make sure that the voters are informed about aspects of their candidates. For example, the GRNC has a report card through the lens of the GRNC. Same thing happening with the Brunswick County GOP. They have good information on all of the candidates. This is the primary. So they can't tell you, who to support. But they can give you all the information on every candidate. And they do. You walk in the door and there's tables laid out and people there to help you. Hey, I am not really sure how all this works. They'll walk you through it. But I think it should be noted that this insanity is the direct result of removing civics and government courses from the public school discourse. Right? I understand that people are going to get all upset about sex education. I don't want you teaching my children pornography. No, but damn it, we should let them know who the president is and who they answer to. How the Justice Department works and who they answer to. And the legislative bodies and who they answer to. And why the Senate has 100 and the House has 500 and change. Anybody under the age of 30 does not understand how any of that works. But they are absolutely mesmerized by the bluster and the blaring, and they didn't even check. Now here's, hey, we're just going to play songs at our rallies and to hell with what other people say, and then realize, oh my God, I have to pay rights. I'm supposed to ask the musician if I can use their music at my event. Oh my God. How insulting is that? My God, I don't even have permission to use somebody else's music. I can legislate how to handle a woman's body, but I can't take your music away from you. Oh my goodness. Do you see how stupid that is? A woman would have more rights if she were like in a band, like Linda Ronstadt or the B-52s or Debbie Gibson, right? They're going to have more rights under their contract than they will as a human being in the United States. Certainly over their own body and their own choices. And now you're going to take that away and give it to the state? The people who can't figure out their own? No. This shouldn't even be an issue. I mean, this is almost akin to like trying to tell me what color underwear I can wear. But being a guy, I don't have to worry about it. I'm allowed to get Cialis and Viagra and get it on my insurance. Right? I am allowed as a man to do all kinds of heinous things to women and get them pregnant. And even if I am convicted of those heinous things, she is now required to carry my seed to term. How genius is that? That doesn't seem right to me. But that's what we voted for. That's who's in our witchadoodle. What do you want to call it? And knowing that I'm not the brightest guy on the planet is not helping me much. So I'm going to take an early break because I need a breath. I got to talk to that guy, man. Easy on the electronics, man. Damn. It's like some kid with his first mixer, you know, by Fisher Price. All right, never mind. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back on The Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad, right here on the Big Talker Network. And please take a moment while enjoying the news and break and stuff. Go to the Big Talker Live and get your smartphone dialed in to the Big Talker. Don't go nowhere. Where's my mouse? Give me back my mouse.
Hello, I'm Matt Bennett with WWAY News. The new Hanover County Schools superintendent says the district could face a budget shortfall that would require cutting more than 260 staff members. Sydney Hoover with the Star News reports the school board is requesting $15 million from county commissioners for the next 3 years. The proposed budget includes a pay increase for some staff, including teaching assistants. Even if the district gets the full amount, it could still face a deficit by the 2024-2025 school year. Area leaders joined North Carolina Attorney General Josh Stein yesterday on a tour of Coastal Horizons, an addiction treatment center in Wilmington. Stein discussed a new settlement in which pharmaceutical companies will pay local governments millions of dollars for their role in the opioid epidemic. Stein says Coastal Horizons is far ahead of the curve on attacking the opioid crisis, with triple the patient load in the last 3 years. New Hanover County will get $19 million from the settlement, with the first 40% of that coming in the next 5 years. Big news for housing in the Cape Fear. 9 months after the former CEO of the Wilmington Housing Authority stepped down, a new executive director has been named. Tyrone Garrett will oversee the Housing Authority's operations, manage real estate development programs, and serve as a liaison with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. He replaces Katrina Redmond, who left the authority last August. Garrett's first objective is prioritizing rehousing families displaced by the mold crisis in public housing. And after a 2-year break because of COVID-19, the annual NC Strawberry Festival and Parade is back on. The festival will kick off with the National Day of Prayer ceremony today at noon at the Chadburn Gazebo located next to the fire station. The opening ceremonies will take place later today with chicken bog plates and live entertainment on the festival ground located at the corner of Highways 410 and 74 in Chadburn. The parade steps off Saturday at 2 in the afternoon. For more on these stories, you can head over to WWAYTV3.com. I'm Matt Bennett. Have a great day.
Happy Thursday, everybody. I'm WWAY meteorologist Ramel Carpenter with the Storm Track 3 forecast. Going to be another warm and muggy one here in the Cape Fear as our high temperatures only get into the middle 80s away from the coast. Coastal areas will still top off in the upper 70s with a small chance for a few isolated showers to develop this afternoon. As for tonight, we may have to watch out for some patchy fog developing late into early Friday morning as our temperatures remain mild, falling down into the middle and upper 60s. Get your full forecast on WWAY and WWAYTV3.com.
This news and weather is brought to you by Two Men and a Truck. For your free quote, go to twomenandatruck.com. twomenandatruck.com.
MusicRewind.com invites you to join the Rock and Roll Instrumental Party, a 3-CD compilation of the best rock and instrumental hits. Order Rock and Roll Instrumental Party now at MusicRewind.com or call 800-206-5002. Pay just $19.98, plus get a special bonus of reduced shipping. Just enter or mention promo code ROCKPARTY55. That's MusicRewind.com or call 800-206-5002. Don't forget promo code ROCKPARTY55. This offer is available for a limited time to U.S. residents only and cannot be combined with any other offer.
Enjoying Big Talker Network is as easy as asking for it. Program your digital home assistants such as Google Home, Alexa, and Siri to stream Big Talker Network content by simple voice command. Enjoy convenient hands-free access to program whenever you want, however you want by asking for Big Talker.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Asylum, right here on the Big Talker, as we welcome a special guest to the program. Mr. Andrew Donaldson from ordinary-times.com. How are you doing this morning, sir? I understand you've been busy.
Yeah, I've been busy. I did some UK media at about 12:30 this morning, and it's been go, go, go ever since. So it's been a busy day. What was that intro music? Are we at an Enya concert? Are we at the spa getting stone massage? What was that all about?
I'm just trying to avoid the copyright strikes that YouTube seems to rain down upon me with indiscriminate concern. So that one was just a more mellow down. It's still a hip hop. It does build, but it's not.
The end of every Heard Tell, we shout out Monster Cat because I have a creative content license for them, and one of the great things about them is they whitelist you. So anytime I have a problem with YouTube, all I gotta do is send in a reply. Their bot grabs it, and it's usually straightened out within a couple of minutes. So shout out to Monster Cat for all the great music on Heard Tell.
Apparently, the one that we pay for doesn't. So yeah. Now, what's interesting is the one you listen to is one that I made, so you're welcome. That's one of mine.
Well, I just should use you going forward then.
Now, I have a question about some of this insanity that's going on.
You're going to have to be a little more specific.
One of them seems to be one of our favorite ladies in office, Miss Boebert. Seems to have let loose with some new stuff recently. I don't understand all of it. I'm still trying to put it together in my head because I'm just not the smart guy. What the hell is going on? Why are all these like grifters getting in the front of everything? What's?
To be fair, Lauren Boebert doesn't know what she's doing either most of the time, so if it doesn't make sense, you're probably right on track.
Okay.
This is a very duplicitous individual that has no business being in elected office. Hold on a second. Sorry, the dogs are all
That's adorable.
We got 4 dogs. She was arrested 4 separate times before she ever got in Congress. Her husband was arrested for exposing himself at a bowling alley to a bunch of children. These are not great people to start with, so let's just get that out of the way right up front.
And there's no way to change this voting habit.
No, in fact, her district got redistricted to become even more red. So she's probably not only safe, she's probably safe for the foreseeable future, even though she's not a good human being. She's an even worse politician, and she brings nothing to the table whatsoever.
Now, that sounds like you're describing a female Maddie Cawthorn. But he might get voted out.
Cawthorn's even worse than the stuff that came out last night. Listen, let me explain. If folks don't know, there's a video that has come out that has Madison Cawthorn in it. I'm not going to get into the details. It is extremely graphic. You can find it on your own time. The GOP has called the code red down on Cawthorn to get rid of him. The reason that's happening to Cawthorn and not to Bobbert, not to MTG, and not to these other terrible people is Madison Cawthorn has some legitimate competition in his primary that can take over for him. So this is gutless stuff on the GOP's part. But yes, Madison Cawthorn should not be in office. The GOP, they should call a vote. They should expel him from office. It would get 2/3 votes easily. I don't think anybody would vote for him except maybe for process reasons. But that would take guts and putting their name on things. Instead, they're going to let nature take its course. This new video is really nasty, ugly, ridiculous stuff. I'm going to say this carefully. I was told over the weekend, I told you this weekend, that there was some really ugly stuff with Cawthorn coming. Here it is. People are going to blame the media. This isn't the media. I talked to 2 different reporters that work for mainstream, big-time, big boy journalism outlets. They've had this. They passed on it. They weren't going to run it. They decided it wasn't newsworthy. They had this video over the weekend. I was told by 2 different reporters that this existed and would be coming. They knew that by passing on it, eventually somebody was going to run it, but the mainstream media didn't want to. They didn't want to touch this because of the content, and I think it was the correct decision. It's out there now; people can find it. It's.
I just now saw it. Wow.
It's in. Yeah, don't even describe what it is. It's insanely invasive. Whoever leaked this, it's. You know, you can have your own opinions about the conduct in it. But it's very clear that the Republican Party wants this is all coming from Republicans. This is the Republican Party trying to get rid of Madison Cawthorn. Instead of calling a vote, putting their name on it, and running him off, which would be the correct way to do it, they're doing it this way.
Okay. But this is not so much different from the drop of the first draft.
Well, the first draft is 40 years of culture wars culminating. I was on Times Radio in London this morning talking about this. And this is 40 years of stuff built to this very moment. But what people don't understand is all you're doing is we're just starting the process all over again. Everything that happens from here on out is automatic.
We reset the clock.
The lawsuits against this are already written. They're just waiting to drop when the decision comes out. 26 states have laws that will go either into effect immediately. They're called trigger laws. 13 states are automatic triggers. The other ones, they're either a future date or the legislation has to do a couple things or whatever. 26 states, that means there's 26 lawsuits at the minimum against all those ready to go because those are all well-known items. We're just going to start this all over again. We've argued abortion for 40 years. We're going to argue it for the next 40 years. So everybody just needs to get it in their head. Yes, Roe v. Wade goes down. That does not outlaw abortion. Now, some of these states can de facto outlaw it, but the blue states are going to make it more prevalent. They're going to reduce it. This is going to be like alcohol and firearms. Each state's going to have a little different thing. And then we're going to start this process all over again. And we're just going to keep doing it in repetition. So everybody kind of keep your bearing. That's where we're at with that.
But there's going to be a lot of misinformation being released as a result to maintain this type of situation, yeah?
Well, people don't understand what the Supreme Court... Remember, 60-some% of America can't name the 3 branches of government, let alone who a Supreme Court justice is, let alone the 5 or 6 case law things. We went over them on Hertel with Burt Lyko yesterday. Please go back and listen to at least the Good Talk segment. He walks us through the whole thing. Roe v. Wade, Casey versus Planned Parenthood, the Griswold decision in Massachusetts that a lot of people need to understand. That's the contraceptive case, a married couple that wanted contraceptive birth control from their pharmacy. These things build up over time. There's a lot of background to them. There's a lot of reasoning to them. That's why we have folks like Burt Lyko came in and talked for 30 minutes walking us through. We didn't even touch Casey other than mentioning it. We could, it's like he said, we can talk. You can teach semesters worth of law school on these cases. It's complicated. Roe v. Wade had the way it was written, even progressive lawyers and legal scholars, if you got them honest, thought that Roe v. Wade would fall at some point because they didn't think it was correctly written for what it was supposed to be. So there was legal stuff in it. Now, the culture war stuff, we don't talk about that stuff, but Roe was always going to be in danger because of the way it was written. But we've had 40 years of politics and culture wars on top of it, so that almost doesn't matter. The case law doesn't really matter. We have built so much of our politics, especially the fundraising and engagement mechanisms around abortion, because we've got the polling data. That is the most engaged issue where people will compromise the least. That means they're the most likely to act on it and give money to it. So people focus on that for 40 years. Both sides have promised the moon for 40 years in regard to this. Neither side can deliver that. And here we are. And now we're going to hash it out in the States for the foreseeable future.
Now, it did seem, I saw a piece last night, I can't remember where, but there was a comparison of the judges when they were being, what's that term when you're being grilled by the Senate?
Confirmation hearings.
Yeah, your confirmation hearings, they were asked directly, do you support Roe v. Wade? And every one of them said, oh, yeah, I supported, this is the law of the land, and I support the law of the land.
Yeah.
And all five of those are the ones that were quoted and have all...
Hold on.
Okay.
They said it was settled. There's some legalese here. They said it was settled precedent. I know this because I watched all those here.
Okay.
They said it is settled precedent. Well, of course it's settled precedent. The Titanic is unsinkable until it sinks. You can honestly say the Titanic is unsinkable because it never sank. Everest is unclimbable until, Edmund Hillary and the Sherpas went and climbed it. You can say it's an unclimbable mountain until somebody does it. They're not lying. It's not completely the truth. But that's the dog and pony show. Instead of just saying, yes, I don't like abortion, we do this dog and pony BS show. And that's why the confirmation hearings are so pointless. So
that wouldn't be
said
perjury?
It was settled precedent. Until, by the way, it still is, because this isn't an official opinion. This is a leaked draft. Okay. So until the Supreme Court knocks down Roe v. Wade is settled precedence until it's not.
And so for anybody that's voting against Roe v. Wade on the Supreme Court who had previously said that they support Roe v. Wade, would that not be like perjury or something untoward?
No, it's a word game, but no, they're telling you, by the definition of the law, they're telling you the truth. It is a settled precedent. They can overturn the precedent is not permanent. Precedent just means this is how we've always done it. So little legalese there, but yeah, they're not. You people complaining about on that line, like if you weren't a grown up to know when conservative justices are sitting there that they would vote against abortion when it comes up, then I don't know what to tell you. You're in the wrong sport.
Hey, I told you that on the very first day. What was that? November 28th, 2021. I said that. I think it was one of the first things I said on the air. This is not my game. I am filling the seat to try and bring as much information and I would say
you're doing good.
Levity and information into the mix so that we can understand that things like, because a number of our representatives that are, newsworthy, I guess, bombastic, don't seem to understand how their own government works. Like they don't understand that the legislative body has nothing to do with copyrights and trademarks, but they seem to think they have this power.
Well, most of them, this is how abortion became. Remember, abortion, it was about 6 or 7 years after Roe v. Wade that abortion became an issue. In the way, the moral majority got a hold of it, the Christian right got a hold of it. It took about 6 or 7 years for it to really become what it is now. And then it took another 40 years of buildup to get it to the, bomb that went off this week. This stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens in a sequence. When Roe v. Wade came down, most Christian religious people were actually for it because they thought it was a good compromise, believe it or not. If you go, I'm not making this up. You can go back and look. We've just forgotten because people now, they just do the buzzwords. They just do what's convenient now. And most of our political leaders do that. They have no idea how case law works, even though most of them are lawyers, which is a sad testimony. They have no idea how the Supreme Court functions. People, there's people yesterday, the vice president, I've been doing Fox News radio hits all morning today. The vice president comes out and says, this is clearly an attack on all women and outlaws abortion. She's a lawyer. She knows that's not true, but that's the buzzword. No, it's going to go back to the states. Now you can say this is going to allow the states to make it illegal. That would be truthful, but that doesn't make a better soundbite. The soundbite is the Supreme Court's making abortion illegal, which is not technically true. But it fits. You see how you say it two different ways? It sounds two different ways. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
So you can say they're attacking all women. Well, not all women get abortions, so that's not true, number one. You see how this is all, this is buzzwords, this is phrasing, this is noise. We got to turn down the noise and get to the basis of what's actually going on here.
Now, there is an interesting correlation you said over the past 40 years right? In that 40 years, civics
closer to 50, but I don't want to admit it. Let's because 70.
I'm going to go with
74
40.
was row. Yeah.
So
74 was row.
40 years in the last 40 years, it was about 40 years ago that civics courses were removed from public education. So we are no longer taught in the public school how our government works. We do not know the three branches of government. We have no idea what's in the Constitution. In fact, we have people on video claiming it is too long to read.
Yeah, I mean, I would like for civics to be taught, except for the fact that I have no. It's like a lot of things. It's like, well, I'd love for something to be taught in school, but who's teaching it? Like, it doesn't matter whether you teach it. Can the teacher convey it? I don't know that we have enough teachers that could teach a civics class right now in the public school system.
That's a sad statement. We're gonna have to get your dad out of retirement.
Look, I took 3 years of Spanish. I can't hobla a bit of it, and I still order an Escalade when I go to the Mexican restaurant. Like I did, just because you have it in school doesn't mean you know it. Should we be teaching it? Probably. Can we teach it? Probably. Like a lot of things, this is a measure of give a damn. You either care enough to figure it out on your own or you don't. And most people just want to hook themselves up to the news machine, get their 30-minute, slush from the straw, and then move along without digging into how this stuff actually works. And that's why the fundraising for the Democratic Party and for Planned Parenthood went through the roof Tuesday morning. Because they were out there claiming this stuff. So
they're a bit of grifting as well. I mean, not that Planned Parenthood itself is a bad idea, but if they're using the same techniques and they're doing the same grifting that Mar-a-Lago is doing right now.
Well, Planned Parenthood has always been a sleight of hand because they say they're doing women's health, but their moneymaker is abortion. They don't really do all the other care they say they do. Their sole purpose is pretty much abortion. They do a few other tangible things, but that's where their money is. That's where their fundraising is. That's where their political power comes from. It comes from abortion. So yeah, there's a little 3-card monte that goes on with Planned Parenthood.
Okay, so I'm not completely out of shade when I'm discovering all of this.
No, you're doing good. You're doing okay. You're the best morning host we got.
Well, I'm thank God for coffee. Because again, not being the brightest guy, and that's why your shows are so amazing. I don't have my notes in front of me. Doing some work this morning, but you had quite the discussion going this morning with. Damn it, if I can't remember the guy's name now.
Oh, Joe Zemansky. He's with Elections Daily. We've had this is Eric Cunningham's group. These guys, about 4 or 5 years ago, you remember we had Eric on live when they first started this a couple years ago at the old station. They just said, you know what? We don't like the way elections are covered. We're going to do it better. We're going to do some nonpartisan data-based election results. And it has blown up. They've gone national. They are now partnered with Decision Desk. They're getting national reviews and coverage. Sarah Stook, that does the history pieces on her tell all the time, she writes for Elections Daily.
Nice.
Elections-daily.com, folks. This is how you fix your information rotation. You get folks like Elections Day. Joe, I didn't prep him for that. Like, I told him like 2 or 3 things. I could ask him about a house race in West Virginia, and he just rattles it off the top of his head. Eric's the same way. I had Eric. You were in studio with me when we did this. I had Eric on. I started asking him about the demographic breakdown of Brunswick County, and he just starts rattling it off. These guys are freaking brilliant. Like, they eat, breathe, and drink this stuff. And I'd rather talk to them than the same 6-headed panel of the usual suspects on network news.
Exactly.
So we broke down Ohio, and he went through all the other races through the month of May that are coming up, including North Carolina, by the way, which is coming up on the 17th. His home state of Pennsylvania, which is a big old mess. But these guys are great at what they do. And girls, they got Election Babe, Guinea Coulter, who's been on the program. She's written for them before. They do really awesome work. And they're so much better than what the network news is doing. And it's data-based. They still have their opinions. They'll tell you their opinion on things. But they just tell you the data. He told me some things I don't agree with him on. We disagreed on the Georgia race. You'll have to listen to hear what I say. I was shocked by his prediction for the Georgia Senate race. You can hear it in my voice because I was like, are you sure you want to? You can hear it if you listen to it. I asked him, I'm like, you sure you want to put that one on tape? He's like, oh yeah, that's it. I was like, okay. And because he knows I'll bring him back on. We're going to play it back, and he's going to answer for it. But those are the kind of people that's involved in Elections Daily. They're outstanding folks. They're worth your support. It doesn't cost you a thing. They have some really cool interactive tools too. You can move congressional maps around. You can move data sets around. They got really good products. If you want data, go to elections-daily.com. Joe Zeminski was on the program today. Great guest. You listen to it. It's just a big old information sandwich.
Now, I need one more piece from you, if you don't mind. Your bit on the Pope serves Patriarch Kirill.
Yeah, Patriarch Kirill is the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. He is a toady for Vladimir Putin. He has been, we covered it on Herd Tell already. He has been giving spiritual cover for the war in Ukraine. He has been excusing the war crimes, the invasion, all that. This is a despicable human being. And Pope Francis called him Putin's altar boy, which is a pretty good sick burn as far as papal burns go.
That's some shade right there. You're going to need some aloe.
We won't bring up these scandals with the Catholic altar boys. That's neither here nor there. But for the moment, even though I'm a Baptist, I agree with the Pope. I thought that was very worthwhile pointing out, and good for him for saying that. He actually canceled a meeting with Patriarch Kirill that was supposed to be occurring because he said it'd be inappropriate, ambiguous to meet when you're being such a colossal douchebag. That was not the Pope's term. That's my term.
Right.
This is a horrible human being in this life or the next. I don't want to be anywhere, Grandma used to say, some men you don't want to be around him when the judgment comes. I don't want to be anywhere near that man when he answers for what he's been doing.
I was going to say, when you meet your maker, it's a whole different conversation. Guaranteed.
Yeah, I said it this morning. It's pretty blunt rhetoric from me, but I was like, that's not representing any God as I understand him, is what you're doing. You're just being evil.
Do you think that conversation or that release is going to have any impact on the wider populace? Because Russia's not going to hear it.
Because Russia's so insular, it won't, but it's good for the Pope. Remember, the Pope has a responsibility besides just being the Pope, because he's the representative of one of the largest religious sects in the world. Think John Paul II, what he meant to the Cold War. Of course, he was Polish, so he had a lot of skin in that game, standing up to Russia. It's very much in that vein for the papacy to stand up to, Russian aggression like Pope John Paul II did, and was so instrumental in the ending of the Cold War to the point that they tried to kill him a couple times. Some real good intrigue stuff back during the Cold War that Russia tried to actually assassinate the Pope, allegedly, of course. So no, this is important.
Else.
It's good that he did that, and good for the Pope.
And that's certainly what's the word I'm looking, like a metric that you can tell that this is completely off the rails, that the Pope is coming out and throwing shade along these lines.
When the Pope starts actually attacking you, which this is as close to attacking as the Pope gets, when he starts talking smack, you're off the page.
Yep.
Especially this Pope, who is, kind of, he's a socialist. Let's just be honest what he is. He's a socialist. He's pretty progressive as popes go. When he starts throwing hands, then, you're off the map.
Yeah, you're done. So what do you have for us tomorrow? I know the end of the week before the Twice on Sunday is going to have quite the collection of interviews. So there's one more we don't know about.
It's going to be hard to find something. It's going to be very hard to find.
I'll have to give you 2 hours.
Cut stuff. I could do a 3-hour. I'm not even joking. I could easily do a 3-hour.
You wanna?
Twice on Sunday. No. No, that's a lot of editing.
I could open up some time for you. That's not a problem.
Elise Amidoro is going to be on tomorrow's program. We're going to talk healthcare. We're going to take a break from abortion and Ukraine and everything else. We're going to talk some healthcare with her. Great guest. She's lived overseas. She's lived here. We can talk about the difference between Europe and here. Of course, I have a very long history of healthcare stuff personally, so we talk about that a little bit. Going to talk a little healthcare on the program tomorrow, plus news of the day. The day is young. Not sure what those other 4 segments might get filled up with. We'll have to see. But it's going to be a great program. But yeah, it has been a monster week. Our downloads are through the roof. The responses are through the roof. We're just going strength to strength with it. The podcast is growing. This is going to be the strongest week of the podcast easily. And the YouTube page is up, and the Facebook views are good. The Twice on Sunday for last week was the most watched Facebook video on Big Talker Network's Facebook page. I don't know if you saw that.
It did pop to the top when I was logging in last night. I was like, wait a minute, where's my video?
Yeah, you got.
Yeah, they want the smart people.
You're gonna have to up your game, but yeah, that Twice on Sunday is a good product. But yeah, we could honestly do a 3-hour. I could easily just string all these interviews end to end and play them because they're that good. They're really good.
And you can do that on, what is it, Good Talks?
Yeah, Good Talks playlist, both on the podcast and on YouTube. The YouTube one's great because it'll autoplay for you. Those are just the interview segments. We call them the Good Talks. Burt Lyko yesterday, law-splaining the Alito draft, the abortion decision that we think is the one that's going to be coming out. He walks you through all the case law. Fantastic stuff. Jason Downey, he's the chairman of the Georgia State Board of Education, breaking down Georgia. That's they're having their primary on the 27th, the last week of May. Big repercussions for 2022 and 2024 because President Trump has really gone all in on Georgia. Talk about that, and he's the chairman of the State Board of Education, so we talk about why he was able to do what folks in Wilmington couldn't do. He can have town halls about education and not have people throw things and wind up on YouTube. So we talk about how he managed to accomplish that.
That's some kind of magic,
done.
yeah.
Not really. You got to listen to people and not throw fits. Pretty simple stuff, but he explains that.
You don't just tell people and shoot at them or yell at them or call them names?
Yeah, I mean, he walks you through it. Back beginning of the week, Gabby Hoffman, if you missed this, we talked conservation. She's one of the real shining stars of Young Voices. Her picture is right beside me on the banner image of Young Voices. Actually, they do that because that makes me look a whole lot better because she's much better looking than I am. But Gabby's brilliant. If you missed her back at the beginning of the week on conservation, great stuff on conservation. We've been talking about the river a lot. So some big picture stuff on that. Make sure you get that. Go all the way back to last Friday, though. Sarah Rumpf joined the program. Big ratings on this one. A lot of people downloaded this one. A lot of people had comments on this one. She breaks down the Disney versus the state of Florida, Ron DeSantis, what's really going on legally. There's been some updates to that in the last couple of days. Now there's a group of taxpayers suing to stop that legislation against Disney based on the fact that their taxes are going up. Go back and listen to her because she's going to be pressing in on a lot of stuff going forward, and we had it first. So quick rundown of that stuff.
See, that's why we do this right here on the Big Talker. We have smart people like Andrew, whose Rolodex is deeper than the Mariana Trench, for Christ's sake. And that any question that he may have, I have to ask Andrew, and then Andrew can go through the Rolodex, find the right guy, and then we get our answer. And that's...
I'm disappointed in you for not pulling up the one thing from this morning's show that I thought you would bring up.
Again, I was kind of handful. What part? Because I'll catch it again at 3. That's when I can really pay attention.
This is a Rolodex thing because I'm going to have somebody on next week from our UK stable of correspondents. In fact, I was on UK radio this morning, so we didn't talk about this, but I wanted to ask him about it. But we had a member of the House of Commons, which is the equivalent of Congress, got busted watching porn from the benches twice. And he said he was looking up harvesters, and there's a type of harvester called a dominator. That was not the kind of dominator he was looking at. We'll leave it there, my friend. You have a good day.
Thank you so much, man. You have an awesome day, and I will talk with you over this weekend, probably tomorrow as well. We have a lot coming up.
Yeah, I got Miami calling me here in about 5 minutes, so I got to jump off here and do some Fox stuff. So we'll talk soon, my friend.
Dude, you go be famous, and I will talk to you tomorrow, if not later today.
Yes, sir. Take care.
Take care. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we do it. I mean, smart people. That's what it takes to really turn this thing around. So if voters are continuing to listen to the grifters and the cheaters and the people that don't even know how the government system works, we're doomed. So please pay attention to the people that are trying to inform you, right? In fact, I was just forwarded something that, whether or not you agreed, the fact remains that the Family First Education Roundtable is going to happen tomorrow at 3 p.m. at the New Hanover County GOP on South Carr Avenue, about 8 blocks south of Market. There we go. So, the NC GOP Chairman Michael Whatley, NC GOP Vice Chair Susan Mills, Congressman David Rouser, NC Senator Michael Lee, New Hanover County Board of Education member Pete, I'm going to screw this up, Wildeboer, and local mom and education advocate Chelsea Cooley. The NC GOP knows that this is the release from them. The North Carolina GOP knows that North Carolina families are focused on ensuring a sound education for their children. That means school choice, parental rights, a focus on the fundamentals, and ensuring that reading and math, not CRT and other radical ideologies, shape the curriculum. Again, this is from them. Local and state Republican leaders join with community advocates to discuss these education issues at NCGOP Family First Education Roundtable in Wilmington. Come hear what parents and community leaders care most about when it comes to education as they discuss bold Republican solutions for putting family first. Education is extremely important, and there should be discourse and dialogue on what is in there, but one of the things that should definitely be included in this conversation would be a curriculum that explains how the American government system works, from the municipal level to the state level, and finally to the federal level, so that we have educated voters at a young age who understand how the three branches of government work and how it is that, like, again, over the past 40 years, civics was eliminated, and we now have representatives who are so ignorant to their own job that they seem to think that copyrights and trademarks move through the legislation. So if there's going to be a barrier to entry, it should at least be an awareness of how the Constitution works. If you haven't read it, let's start there. I mean, maybe we go back next week and we'll find somebody who can walk us through each one of the 7, well, there's only 5 actual working articles of the Constitution. The first one sets it up, and the last one's sort of like, hey, there's a couple misspellings, but no big deal. You know what we meant. The other 5 articles, 2 through 6, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Those are the ones that actually determine how our government structure will work. And they're not but 2 paragraphs long. They're dense because there's a lot of concepts in there. And that's what's amazing about the English language, and to the chagrin and demise of other companies that don't bother reading. You need to read into these things, pay attention to it, ask questions about it. Because this is how it works for us. Don't care how it works in other countries. This is how it works for us. And if you don't understand how it works, you're going to make poorly informed decisions and continue to vote for people who don't even know what their job is in the legislation. And it's a matter of, if it's not important, it doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter to many of these representatives who are there for the money. They're there for the accolades. They're there for the attention. They're there for the photo ops. They're not there because they care about their constituents or making life better. They're there to be bombastic little starlets of their own. And the only way to change that is by voting. So yeah, maybe they look really good in a suit, but maybe we should throw the clock back about 100 years and start electing people who actually work for a living. People who have actually, like, lived life. They don't have proxy nannies raising their children. People who have to, like, choose between, oh my God, do I keep my job or do I take my son to the hospital? Real people living real lives. We don't need any of this elitist crap anymore. We need to get back to people who know what's going on and are willing to be a part of it. Oh, thank you for that peaceful little interlude there. Winding it down. And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back for another day of fun Asylum knockouts and knock 'em out. Right here at the Big Talker. Don't forget to visit the website, bigtalker.live. And we will see you tomorrow right here on the Asylum, your refuge in a world gone mad. We will see you then.
Keeping Oak Island informed. The Big Talker, 106.7 FM, WFBT, Carolina Beach. We wouldn't sell you a dining room table, so don't buy a medical device from a furniture store. US Med Express is Wilmington's leading supplier of golden technology lift and sleep chairs, carrying a variety of models in our showroom at 1733 Dawson Street. Our chairs lead the industry in power lift recliner features and advances in technology. Our chairs are FDA certified as medical devices, which means it's 100% tax deductible and helps with a number of medical conditions, including arthritis, poor circulation, and sleep apnea. Give us a call today at 910-500-6162 or stop by and experience our chairs for yourself at 1733 Dawson Street. That's 910-500-6162. 1733 Dawson Street in Wilmington. US Med Express.
Hey, I'm Yael Osowski.
And I'm David Clement.
We're the host of Consumer Choice Radio, broadcasting every Saturday at 10 a.m. here on the Big Talker 106.7 FM.
Consumer Choice Radio is a weekly conversation featuring